are live. Podcast number 1, Singh Army podcast. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, all over the world, I hope you are ready, because we are ready to do this. So, I am your host, Indy Singh, and without further ado, let me introduce you to talker number 1, week number 1, podcast number 1, Amandeep Singh, Sikh educator and lawyer from none other East London. What are you saying, bruv?
It's an honour and a privilege to be here. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm grateful. Thank you.
So here we're going to do this now is we are going to introduce this podcast, okay, and we're going to say what we're going to be doing, how we're going to be doing it, and when we're going to be doing it. So we have myself, we have Amandeep Singh, and we have members of the audience. Hanji, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Okay, so Mr. Khalsa Ji, let all these viewers know how we're going to be doing this, what is the format, and what can they expect from us?
Expect fireworks. It's going to be going off this year in a good way. Basically, so the aim of this podcast is to just reach out to the young British-born Sikhs out there, male and female, the Singhs and the Kaurs, everybody, just to get everybody into feeling like we're all one community, spread the message of Sikhi, and that's it really. It's nice, light-hearted, you know what I mean? We spend loads of hours in our lives watching other podcasts from other faiths, or do you know what I mean? Like Joe Rogan, not big up to them all, you know what I mean? Love to everyone, but we got to put our message out there as well. So that's what this platform is for, really.
Here, respect.
Yes, bro. So, who's going to get us started? What are we starting with? Someone tell me, what is week number 1? Where shall we start? What is the message?
I think today I've been looking forward to speak to everybody about something that I think is very, very important, that we don't speak about as much as we do, or we say, but we don't necessarily put enough emphasis on what it means. And it's Sikh history, and Gurbani talks a great deal about it. What am I talking about? I'm talking about gratitude and appreciation, bruv.
Excellent subject to start with there. That's a good one. It's a good one. But let's just start off with, before how we get there, as the weeks and the months and the shows go on, everyone gets to know who I am and what I'm about and where I'm come from. But Amandeep Singh, please tell the viewers who you are, where you've come from. And we're here to be organic. We're here to get the truth. We're here to get deep into things. You know, that's for me, that's what Sikhi is. It's the truth and its connection to that truth. So from the bottom of your heart, you know, I know you. I know where you're from. I know what you're about. Your title is Sikh educator and lawyer. You know, if you stayed with the latter part of that title of just the lawyer, you'd have a few more zeros at the end of your salary every year. But you take so much time out and you have so much dedication and faith in your Sikhi education for others. So what I want to know, I want the viewers to know, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who will be able to relate to you. So your message is an important one. Your journey is an important one. So please tell us, before we get on to today's subject of gratitude, which you suggested, which is a great one, we can all apply to our everyday lives. And we don't even know what we're grateful for, but we'll be discussing that. But please tell us about who you are, where you've come from, and what you're doing.
Well, you've sort of put me in the spot a little bit there. I wasn't expected to be blindsided like that, brother. The lads phoned me up, said to come on this podcast, but it looks like we're going to go very, very deep today. All right, I'll try and do it justice. I think you're a bit too kind with your words there, brother. I'm not sure I can live up to that expectation. But who am I? Where have I come from? Well, look, I'll be honest with you. As you've come down here today, you've come through the streets of East London. You'd have gone past a few pubs. I come from a family of owners of pubs. It was more common to find me on a corner on Rumford Road drinking Budweiser or Gordon's Dry Gin. That was my drink of preference. Just getting hammered, but it was just all about Ben Sherman shirts, Fred Perry T-shirts, Patrick Cox shoes.
That was 20 years ago, bro. That was 20 years ago from Green Street.
Yeah, well, 20 years ago they were following. Put it this way, I set the trend. They were following it, bro. And so we were just basically out and didn't know anything about Sikh Dharam, didn't know anything about our history, and it was just about getting hammered and going out and having what I perceived was a good time. And looking back on it now, it's so obvious to me now. But there was a smile on my face outwardly, but inside I wasn't very happy. Inside I was struggling. But I looked around and everybody else seemed like they were smiling, so I thought this is just the way it's got to be. Maybe this voice inside my head needs to be ignored. And what happened was I was at a bit of Jack Lad at university. At university, I was the Punjabi society leader, arranging like gigs and stuff like that. That's basically where I was at. And then I was at QMW.
What university did you go?
I was at Queen Mary's University of London.
What year?
What year did I go? 2000. I graduated in 2004.
Wow, long time ago.
So thank you for that. Just cut me right down, yeah, make my story. But yeah, so I was at university, and then I actually went to it was at university that I went to a Sikh lecture. And it was there that I learnt about the Shahidi, the sacrifice, we say in English, of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. That one who stood up against tyranny and injustice, and they laid it down. They said, no, this is the way it's going to be. They gave their life, they gave their physical life, they're going to live forever. They are timeless, but they gave their physical life, if you want, with Bhai Mati Dasi, Bhai Sati Dasi, Bhai Diyalaji. And they set an ideal in motion. And I was thinking, hang about, here these things, right? And they'd been burned alive, boiled alive, sawn in half. And they're giving up all of this so willingly, yeah? And here I am, I'm going to the barbers, I'm paying some guy £6 to give me a short back and sides, blending it on the side, yeah, buying shockwaves. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? These guys are paying with their lives to keep their Sikhi, and I'm paying some guy with my dollar to take my Sikhi. It don't work. But the real turning point for me was having had that little taste. I went on to a Sikh retreat, which is now famous across the world for the wonderful, blissful experience you can experience there, which is called Boss Camp.
So let me just take you back there. So you've heard a talk at your local uni. Now you're saying that this was a changing point for you. So was this a first step? Or was this, like you said, was this a taste? Then how did you get from there then to going away to, how long was the retreat?
I'll tell you, it was. I wouldn't say it was a step, because at that point I didn't know what the hell was going down. I just thought, this is different to Friday night, getting hammered. What's going on here? Why am I crying? Didn't know what was going on. Walked straight out of that lecture into another lecture, and then just carried on. I think when your mind experiences something that's going to change you, you sometimes come from a place of fear. And if you're in a place of fear, you can't grow. So you have to be willing to accept. And if you can accept, then you can move forward. And if you can understand that not everything's going to be in your control, then you can move forward. And what happened to me at that experience was I was willing to just, because I was with the lads and it was quite exciting, and I just wanted to just experience more. So then a couple of lads who were from Hitchin, they'd come down to the university. They came down and they met us. And I was just getting into martial arts at that time. And so they said, look, why don't you come to this Sikh retreat, which we go to, organised by the British Organisation of Sikh Students, BOSS, which we know them as. And so a few of us went for jokes. It was in summer holidays, we were on study leave, and it was at Boss Camp that my life changed. It was the year after Jagraj had just been, Jagraj Singh, who we all know, that beautiful light that has just changed the way that Prajar, the way that Sikh teachings, education is given forth in the world. Jagraj had been the year before, and he was just keeping his gas and taking Amrit, and he'd returned, and I met Jagraj there. And yet, so at that camp, I just experienced a bliss unlike anything else. And I'll tell you what happened at that camp, actually, is quite a surreal. It was probably the most intense experience of my life. So I was at the camp, and like I said, I was a Monna, short back and sides, Fred Perry t-shirts, that was all I packed, that sort of thing, because I didn't know about anything else. All those things are there in like brandless, they got no brands on because they wear Barney and stuff like this. And there was these things walking around, they're carrying Shastar. It's a completely new world to me, because I've never seen Singhs. I remember noticing a Singhani with a Dastard. I'd never seen it before. But for all intents and purposes, just keeping it simple for the podcast, as the camp was coming to an end, in my mind, I was just like, oh man, I just wish I was like these people. I know that I'm not. Everybody is amazing. The Singhs look like wizards, and the Singhani look like wizardesses. They just looked so amazing. I just didn't feel worthy to be there, and there was this feeling of guilt. But then what happened was, I went into the Bar Sahib. It was the last day of the camp. And what happened was, I sat down and I was looking at Guru Sahib, which we could also call Maharaj, meaning the great king. And I was like, yo, Maharaj, like, is there any place for me in your house? Like, I know I'm a wrong one. I know that I ain't worthy to be here. I don't know the names of the Gurus. I don't know when the dates of when the Gurus were born. I don't know any of the Bharata that these people are reading off by heart. But is there a place for me?
When you're saying you're asking, is this you were physically asking? You were in an ardas, you were in English, in Punjabi, or were you inside your heart, inside your mind?
What I'd done was, I was embarrassed then. I'm not embarrassed to say it now, because perhaps it will help people relate. At that time, I went out into the forest because I was embarrassed, yeah, and I was like, okay, So just me and you now, God, yeah. Like apparently you answer everyone's prayers. Yeah, this is feeling here, and I don't want it to go. I thought it was just about going to law school. I thought it was just about hooking up with the opposite gender, so on and so forth, or getting a rep or whatever it was in that particular moment. Which I'm a bit embarrassed to say now. That was what life was about then.
So you did have a rep.
I wouldn't say I was I was like a minor criminal, I would say. Yeah. But going back to the point, I did what I would now call an ardas. I didn't know it was called an ardas, and I didn't know what ardas meant. Ardas meaning supplication, request, prayer to Guru Sahib. I said, look, can you just let me stick around, basically, or can you find a place for me? I know you've got high standards because looking at your people, they're amazing. But can I stick around? And it was at that moment I walked into the Darbar Sahib. Nobody had answered me. And I was feeling a bit forlorn. I think I was expecting the clouds to open and maybe a light to shine forth from some sort of movie. And I went into the Darbar Sahib. I went into the hall of the Guru, which is called the Darbar Sahib. And I sat down and I was just, inside I was upset. But I didn't want everybody to see. And I asked again, before Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, not in the woods now, but now before the king of all kings, yo, is there a place for me in your house? And it was at that time that the Sangat had just started to recite what I now know is called Anand Sahib. I didn't know it was called Anand Sahib then. Anand Sahib meaning the Song of Bliss, given to us by Guru Amar Das Ji Maharaj. And the first words will always resounding me. Maharaj is saying, Anand Paya Meri Maaye Sat Guru Main Paya. And the Singhs had got really technologically advanced at that point. So fortunately for me, they had a translation on the board, which was like the new age cutting technology then. Mm-hmm. And it said that you are in Anand, yeah, and because you found your Satguru. And I could just, I'll tell you in no uncertain terms, all I could feel rather than hear, I could feel a voice inside me saying, look, don't worry, I got your back. I know you're a wrong one. I know everything that you are, and don't worry, I got your back. And it was like, there was this, I could feel this feeling like there's a hand around my waist, giving me a squeeze, much like a child would be held, like a 2-month-old child would be held by a dad, like face forward. Like he's just squeezing me, going, look, I know you're wrong, and I know you're a F up, if that makes sense. Sinner. But I got you. And I just couldn't stop the tears from flowing, man. So that's what that experience changed my whole life. The people that I met at that camp are with me to this day. They're the most influential people, the people that I owe that I'm always humble before. So going from that experience, coming back into the world, I knew that there was more to life than just a life as everybody else was living it, if that makes any sense.
So how was it? Months, years, weeks after that camp that you've just described to us? How long after that was it that you got baptized?
I think I kept my gears. I stopped cutting my hair within about sort of 6 months, maybe 9 months or so. Again, a similar sort of time frame, giving up meat and then alcohol, and then I started carrying shast, and then I started carrying the Banch Card, started practicing, but I didn't take Amrit until I was 21. So I was practicing Nityanem, learning Gurbani, which is so easy. People put this big barrier. Oh, I can't read Bard. You can learn Gurbani, yeah, just complete side offshoot, yeah. You can learn how to recite Gurbani. Guess how long it took me to learn how to recite Gurbani? Coming from, I did not even know. You know, they say, oh, I don't know. People say, I don't know what Uda Ara. I didn't know what Uda and Ara were. Like I didn't. And guess how long it takes if you actually want to learn Gurbani, if your mind is focused.
Well, because you're Puraya, I reckon it took you 6 months.
4 hours, bro.
Wow.
No, sorry, I beg your pardon. Sorry, 6 hours. You can learn Gurbani. It's so easy. It's so much easier than English, because it's all just phonetic. You could just learn it.
Mate, I've been on Ura Era since I was like 12 years old, and I've got to about the second line.
No, I think the way that we're teaching it is wrong. I think you can learn it in a far quicker way.
Yeah, I agree. I need a better teacher. That's what I need.
I'll shout out to Amarajit Singh from East London. He sat me and ended it down 1 hour a week over 6 weeks. It's 1 hour a week, 6 hours it took me to read Gurbani. So I was a bit scared, to be honest with you. Because I was scared that because of the place I'd come from, specifically from my family, completely non-baptized, all like I said, my family's more aligned to like Punjabi Jat mentality than it is like Sikh or Sikhi Torte. So I was just a bit scared about having to not just basically make those inroads where it was become acceptable. But I tell you something really funny. Initially, had to face a lot of barriers. But what I've found, Guru Sahib says, Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Jin Sevya Din Paya Man. That those that do Sevya is often translated as Seva, but Gyani Gurbatin Singh explains that Sevya actually means to do bhajan, to do Simran. So actually, sometimes we actually mistranslate that, or you can say it means both if you want. Yeah. So Sevya can mean Seva, meaning service, but it can also mean bhajan, to do Simran. Guru Sahib says, Jin Sevya. What happens to that person that does bhajan, that recites the name of God? Din Baya Man, that actually they're honoured. And I was like, hang on, man, what's going on here? I'm trying to do Simran, trying to do things like this, and everyone's shouting at me, giving me a hard time. I remember going to a Rains By, which is like an all-night, what we call a Kirtan program, and I had to tell my old man, because my old man's a bit of a geezer, I was like, look, I'm going out clubbing. Because it was easier to tell my family that I was out. Yeah, because he would feel more comfortable with that, because that was something that my old man's like, listen, go out, have a good time, just come home, you'll be fine. But slowly what happened was, we make these assumptions that these things are going to be difficult, but actually what happened was, after a while, my old man, like my dad, we were like very close friends now. He actually would sit with the lads in East London and go, look, my son's a Singh. And it just, something I thought he'd never be proud of, He actually's like, lads, you won't catch my son here tonight having a drink. He's at the Gurdwara, and he'd have a little laugh and tickle about it, have a little laugh about it, a little joke about it, a little bit of banter, but something which I never thought would happen. And this is really important, because as human beings, we make assumptions and we build our lives on assumptions, but the assumption is often wrong. So the assumption was that my family would never be accepting. And I think a lot of people in the world are fearful of who would accept them, who wouldn't accept them. But it's just based on an assumption which is wrong. Oh, I can't keep my gears till I get this job. Because obviously, in your employment contract, it says somewhere that you can't keep your gears. Yeah. How many bank managers do we know? People going through FCA exams and go, oh, I can't keep my gears right now. What bank has ever sacked anybody have you ever heard of? But it's just an assumption. We live in fear. And this podcast is going to break the fear. So in essence, what I'm trying to say is that my family actually came round, and it's actually quite nice. Not that I take any credit for it. It was all Guru Sahib's kirpa, all Guru Sahib's blessings. But it was kind of nice to have everyone saying, hey, I'm very proud of you, it's good.
Yeah, massive.
Not in an ego boost sort of way, but in a sense that where I thought they wouldn't be accepting, and I'd maybe have to walk apart away from them, to have that relief that actually the fear was in my head, the assumption was in my head. Actually, you can live coincide. You can, you know what I mean? I remember thinking, my sister was like, yo, you're changing. Me and my sister very close. She's like, you're changing. She's like, I like the change. I like it. But again, it's just all, it's fear. Fear is a big, big problem. And do you know how, coming onto the podcast, what I'm really passionate to speak about today, do you know how you can never be in a state of fear? Shall I tell you, bruv? You can never be in a place of fear if you are in a constant, perpetual state of gratitude. It is impossible to be in a state of fear, anxiety, pain, or suffering if you are in a place of gratitude. I'm going to say that again because it's going to double down, You cannot be in a place of fear. You cannot be fearful at the same time as being grateful. You could be in a car accident, and if you stand up and go, my legs are working, you might have cuts and bruises all over your body, You can walk out of a car accident, your car that you said for 100 years to buy. If you thought you'd lost your legs and you're in that moment, all you're thinking about is the fact that you can still walk. You're in a place of gratitude. You are not scared. Does that make sense? So what I'm really excited to talk about when we get onto in the next section of this podcast is gratitude. But maybe I'm jumping the gun. Sorry.
But it's all right, bro. I don't know. You're saying if it does make sense, even if it didn't, I think I was going to say yes because you punched this table about 6 times now. I don't know if that's the minor criminal coming out or if that's just your passion, bro. But again, it's a moving story, bro. And what you said there is a massive, massive word. And 2 words you said is perception and fear. They're 2 massive, massive words for people in our community, in Sikhi, in everyday life, no matter where you are on that journey. The 2 questions before we do move on to today's topics that I do want to ask you is, number 1, is did you have in your previous life, let's call it for now, before you were baptized and you were from a big family and you were on these streets here in this grimy place that you brought us to today of East London?
Oi, careful, yeah.
So you telling me in all those Friday, Saturday nights, Are you telling me that there was no happiness? Or are you telling me that, you know what, this is a bigger happiness? You found a greater happiness?
Bruv, I'd say to you 100% hand on heart. As a matter of course, yeah, I don't lie. I just don't think there's any point in it. You're lying to yourself. You're harming yourself. It's a pointless aspect. It's crept into everyone's lives, incidentally, just as a side point. This I did that lying is acceptable. I don't lie. Look, I ain't saying to you that in those times there wasn't moments of momentary glimpses of a joke and a laugh and a bit of banter. Some of the best friends I've got today are people that were formed at those times, and I haven't got any regrets. But what I will say is I'm concentrating on the word momentary glimpses, and that is this whole world. This whole world is temporary and impermanent. You can forget my example, bro. I'm just a nobody, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, and most people are, in fact. Yeah, but if we just look at the way society is right now, there's this program now that people are eulogizing. These, like, what was it called? They go on that island, Love Island. Yeah, so people are like, and I've got nothing against anybody. Everyone's got to live
going
their
on
life,
like you don't watch it, Amandeep.
I don't watch it, but I heard some stats about it because everyone's raving about it. Right, 3 guys on Love Island who are eulogized across the world. Everyone's chatting about. I hear, oh, did you watch Love Island? I don't watch TV. I ain't got TV at home. Yeah, I got Netflix. That's about it. I watch a few things, but I ain't got the old Skybox and all that. And they go, do you watch this program Love Island? Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's talking about this guy. I don't know their names. But what's really painful is these guys are being paraded across the world stages. These are guys that somebodies, if you want, in inverted commas, right? 3 people from that program have committed suicide. Yeah, we look at people on the world stages like. And I don't wish anybody any ill. My heart goes out to anybody that's suffering in this world, be they from any background, right? So your question was looking at me going back to my days, going out just getting bottles of Gordon's dry gin and getting hammered, puking and falling asleep on the bus stop, which was just down the road, yeah? Look, forget even, yes, there was momentary glimpses, and we would hold on to those like they were everything, but there wasn't that consistent happiness. And the reason I give these examples in the world of stage is because I think a lot of people aspire to that, unbeknownst to them, that happiness which you see when you're picking up a Golden Globe, or you're getting a promotion at work, or you're buying a Ferrari or a Porsche or whatever, even those things are momentary. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji puts it so much more beautifully. They say, Nanak tere kach nahi, supne jo sansar. They say, Kaho Nanak tere kach nahi, supne jo sansar. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji calls out, they say, Kaho Nanak. They say, yo, basically, yo, tere kach nahi, nothing is permanent. Tere means permanent, kach nahi meaning nothing is permanent. Supne jo sansar, this whole world is a dream. Meaning that all of these things that we try and wrap ourselves in forever is impermanent. So for me, that realization in my mind was that what everybody else is doing, it's not enough for me to do that, because equally inside everyone's crying. Guru Nanak puts it so clearly. They say, Nanak dukhiya sab sansar, the whole world's in pain. The moment that you realize that, and that you want to be a light in that darkness, then there's a purpose beyond yourself. And then you really, really find happiness. You want to find happiness, my brother? You want to find happiness? It's not through the things you're going to obtain or the drinks you're going to have. It's going to be through serving other people. This is what Jagraj Singh once said. Jagraj Singh said something once that really lit me up. Excuse the pun. You'll see why it's a pun in a second. They go, we're in Galjug. Everybody's suffering. The whole world's in darkness. But Jagraj Singh had such a wonderful light in. Do you know what he said? Because if the whole world is in darkness, that's when a small diva can shine for miles. You can see that's when the need, when the Lord where there's darkness everywhere, that is when there's a need for that little light. And so I found a consistent happiness, a consistent bliss, a consistent contentment through this path of Gursikhi. And that is through serving other people. And that you will find as one of the key tenets of the Sikh faith. So if you want to find true happiness, it's not through emulating those that are on TV that behind closed doors are unhappy. It's through following the Guru's teachings. What does the Guru say about finding happiness? The Guru says that the true happiness is found through serving other people, through serving the creation. Just on that point, just very quickly, I know you've got another question there, but something wonderful, a gem that Gyani Kulwant Singh Ji said once, and it's going to stay with me forever. They said something so amazing. So Gyani Kulwant Singh Ji is like a respected speaker on behalf and for the Khalsa Panth across the world, and they're really respected by everybody. and they said something amazing. They said, whatever you want in life, whatever you want, the best way to get that thing is to give it to other people. And I was like, what the hell? How does that make any sense? He wasn't talking about money. Because you don't actually want money. You want happiness, so you get money to get happiness. Yeah? So again, he's cutting it down to the wire. They go, look, you don't want a car. You want happiness. You think the car's going to give you happiness. So the truth of the matter is, what do we all want? We want to be happy. And what does Gyaniji say? They go, whatever you really want, meaning happiness, the best way to have that is to give it to other people. My brothers and sisters, Google Jagraj Singh. He dedicated his life to the Panth. It's no coincidence that every photo that people have snapped of him, go on Google, check it out yourself, do a Google search. He's always buzzing in every photo when he's not even being pictured like standing for a photo. Whatever you want in life, we spend too much time being selfish and trying to take it. What we should be doing is opening up our heart and giving it, and then it will come naturally.
Yes, but I get the pun, bro, and trust me, that is fire. I need one of them things that, you know, Charlie Sloth, yeah, bro, needs all the little sound effects. Okay, bro. One word now, yeah? What are you most grateful for in your life? Give me one word. Let me start with brother in the studio with us today in the panel. Khalsaji, give me one word. What are you grateful for? Let's talk about this.
Without it sounding like a cliche, I'd say the gift of Sikhi. Like the day and age that we're living in, very easily it could be anywhere. Do you know what I mean? Could be anywhere in the world, but such is the giver that Maharaj has blessed us with Sikhi. That we know what our shaheeds before us have done for the Sikhi. So for us to wear this crown on our heads is the biggest gift for me.
And you know, we're talking about being born into this from a young age because, like you said, Sikhi is a gift, and sometimes it's a gift that you can give to other people. For example,
now it's a gift that you can be very ungrateful for quickly as well. Do you know what I mean? So that's why the tools keep you grounded, keep you rooted. Doing seva, doing simran. Do you know what I mean? Seeing yourself, humility is a massive thing. We've got to see ourselves as the lowest of the low. If you've got that mentality, Maharaj will give you everything. And it's like Baji was saying that sometimes all it takes is just that one step. Like you take one step to Maharaj will take thousands towards you.
A bit like when Baji went camp.
Exactly.
When he went to his first Sikh society, he took that one step,
yeah,
ended up camp, then shortly after his journey started.
Yeah, Bhai Gurdas Ji says clearly that Sadguru Kot Penda Gohe Le The. You take one step towards Vaheguru, Maharaj will take thousands towards you. 100%. So like what you were saying, that it's just that fear. Sometimes you just got to break the fear. Forget it. Who are we out to please? We're out to please Guru Sahib. We want Guru Sahib's assistance, yeah? We want the blessings from Vaheguru, from Guru. Not out to please anybody else in this world. I think, and if you can grasp that concept, I think there's nothing.
So you're saying take a step, but what's an example of a step, bro? Is it putting
It
a
can be
picture up in
anything.
your? Is it putting a picture up of Maharaj in your house?
Yeah.
Is it listening to this podcast? Is it watching a basically Sikhi talk? Is it going to Seek to Inspire camp? What's a step?
I think it's very individual. I think for everybody, everyone's on their own step of the journey. So you can't judge anyone and be like, oh right, you know, I'm here, you're there. So these steps could be something small to doing Mool Mantar 5 times a day. Do you know what I mean? To start just doing Simran, going to see your Guru. A lot of us, we're lost in the world. We don't know who our Guru is. We're wandering around like no Guru, and that's you know what I mean? There's nothing worse than that. So it might be just go to the Gurda and do Mata Take and appreciate that Guru Sahib, you are my Guru. Exactly how Paji did. So there's so many countless steps, but we all know consciously deep down what we're doing, what bad things we're doing, what good things we're doing. You know what I mean? It just means cancelling out the bad ones, doing more of the good.
Respect with it. And 100%. You know, Amandeep, just to bring you in, okay, so let's talk deeper about gratitude. Now, let's just look at from your everyday life where people can relate. Are you grateful to the customers that you have?
Yes. I think customers are probably the wrong word. So I'm a practicing litigation solicitor, so we don't really have customers. We have people that come to us for legal advice. Yeah, so clients. We have clients. I'm grateful for that experience. But gratitude, understanding from Sikhi the importance of gratitude, the truth of the matter is, had I not done what I've done for 10 years, had I not gone through that sour, I wouldn't have appreciated the sweet right now. So oftentimes we get hung up by where we are in our life and we think I've been in a negative place, and we look at that negative place and we remain remiss. We get upset. Oh, why did I have to go through that? But what we don't recognize is when we're out of that, because we were in that negative place, it's allowed us to look at it and go, actually, I'm in a great place right now. I'll tell you something that was really, really interesting. That completely changed my perspective on this. When I started doing Katha, when I started to learn to do Katha, my teacher, who's a wonderful human being, his name is Gyani Sukraj Singh from Leeds, a wonderful, wonderful human being. He took pity on me and decided to spend time teaching me how to do Katha, which was not an easy thing for him to do. So I'm really grateful for that. And one of the very first places I went to do Katha was a place in South London. I know I don't like South London much, but where needs cool must, right? So I'll go to South London. I go to this young kid's house, and he's just kept his gears. Didn't know anything about him, and he's a young lad. And when I get to his house, he's very, very weak. He's skinny, yeah. And I get to know his story that basically he had his intestines removed because he had this disease called I'm going to try and pronounce it. Ulcerative colitis. It's a form of disease where your kidney, your intestines, they're not working properly. I think they swell up, causing significant pain. And so, Bajala, this kid, right? He's had most of his intestines removed, his lower intestine removed, if I remember correctly, and he's in a lot of pain. I'm speaking to his mum and dad, and they go, look, he's got to come home from school. He can't go to the park. Things that we took for granted, going, playing around in the park and stuff like this. And his intestines were removed. He's got to come home from school. He can't eat normal food. And here he is, and he's celebrating with a Sukun Sabat at his house. And he's telling at the start for the first time. And I've gone up to him to have a chat with him. I'm there to do Gatha. In my arrogance, I've turned up at this guy's house to teach him something. Little to me, was I going to learn so much from this kid? Yeah. I've turned up there, and I'm talking to him, and I go, oh man, you're in a bad way. You've had a really tough ride. I really wish that we could fix this. I wish it never happened here. Sort of that sort of line of conversation. And this young lad, he's 15 years old, right? He turns to me without no physical power, but all of the power in his face and his smile. He smiles and he goes, Baji, I wouldn't change it for the world. And I was blown away from this kid. And he goes to me, look, since I got ill, since I became really ill and I had to get taken care of, I'm in an intensive care unit and I nearly died and whatever, because my parents have really focused on their Sikhi. My old man's kept his gears now, and he's taking steps. I won't go into their personal steps, that's their personal business. And his mum, she's coming to Sikhi as well, and now because of that he's kept his gears, and the whole thing has brought the family. It took me to tears. And like the point was how can you understand that this kid who's nearly died, who's physically going to move in a different way for the rest of his life, yeah, on the verge of, you could say, like disabled in the physical sense because he can't like spend a whole day at work, yeah, he's chilling, and he's coming from a place of gratitude because he's understand the teaching of Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak is saying, that all many duk, difficulties or pains, book, hungers that we have that in our life, difficult tests that we've got to face, yeah, even these things, even these are gifts if you have the eyes to see it. And I walked out of that house completely humbled by this young kid, but it taught me the power of gratitude. Here's this kid, and I'm bouncing around worrying about worldly problems or whatever, as most of us are. People saying things like, when am I going to get married? How am I going to get this job? This kid hasn't got any intestines, and he's bouncing around full of life. And that is what it means to be in shukrana, to be in a state of gratitude and appreciation. Gratitude is so important. Gratitude is a weapon that can weaponize you when you feel like you have no weapons in your hand, and it can make someone that looks weak, powerful compared to somebody that's got everything. My brothers and sisters, my job has given me a wonderful insight into some of the wealthiest people's lives in East London. Our offices are well established. I've got guys coming to my office that have got 200, 300 houses. They're getting 2-3 grand a month rent. Each month they're getting 200-300 grand in their account. Like, it's like a replenishing, swirling slush of money. Yeah? But they're not happy because they're not coming from a place of gratitude. Because you can have all of this worldly stuff unless you are grateful for where you are truly. You can't lie to yourself. In other words, unless you've got this gift of good Sikhi, where you truly are grateful. Like my brother here said from the audience, he said that he's grateful for the gift of Sikhi, because that is a gift that will just give you so much bliss and happiness. And so I think we've got to start talking about gratitude. Hopefully we're going to get onto this.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's many forms of gratitude. I mean, I'll give you one type of a physical form of gratitude. I remember when I was a young lad, and I'd wasted most of the summer just dossing about, chilling. And then my mum was on my case, get a job. And so I got a job at Argos. Okay, got a job at Argos and worked there 3-4 weeks. First pay packet comes. Thought, yeah, man, I'm going to get this, going to get this. Took it home. Bibi's like, go donate it at the Goddara in the Gorlak. I was like, why would I do that for? She goes, your first pay packet as a sign of thank you, go donate it. And these things were like...
Did you? He's looked. Let the record show. He looked straight down.
I made a donation. But what I'm saying is these kind of things is in our culture. Not even just Sikhi. It's just a Punjabi trait. You know, that's a Punjabi trait that we that used to happen. Anyone used to get a job, and your first pay packet, you used to get it in there. And now, and that was a form of gratitude, a form of monetary gratitude. And you know, I heard someone do a bit of a talk on it, and what they said was they said everything you get, he goes, that Waheguru gives you, and as a form of gratitude and accepting that, you're giving 10% back. So we're moving on from that first pay packet. We're now moving on to the Swand, okay, which is a charitable donation, but it's on the subject of gratitude, and it's 10% of your earnings, 10% monthly earnings or weekly, however often you get paid, you donate to Sikh causes, and it's a form of gratitude. And you know, these things, before it wasn't just baptized or unauthorized that did it. Everyone in the Punjabi community used to do it. The first generations of Sikhs that came to this country, not a lot of them were baptized, and they all did it. And that's how we have every Gurdwara in every city in the country on the back of their hard work. They just about had that. That was when we were in real poverty. That was when we were first gen. We didn't have no money. We were having 6 people, a husband, a wife, 4 kids living in 1 bedroom of a house, and 3 families sharing 1 toilet, but they were still taking 10% out. And without a doubt now, even if you go to the Gurdwara and you see people getting up and giving money, just our generation, you know, we haven't got that. And it is a lot with the older generation, and that's a monetary form of gratitude.
No, I agree, and I agree entirely. Interesting, when we were doing some research for the Japji Sahib Gatha, which we, with Guru Sahib's blessings, we completed at the end of last year, I came across something very interesting. We had this concept called Peta, which is when you put money in the Golak, yeah? And the word Peta has got its root from giving back, or the word Peta means returning. I thought that was really interesting. So when we give Peta, we think that we're giving. But when you give someone something that was always theirs, that's what it actually means, to return.
Exactly.
So the Swand that we say we're giving, right? The actual truth of the matter is, everything that we've been given is actually a gift from Guru Sahib. And all we can really do is return. We can't give anything. It's like, you could imagine you go back to your dad when you're 25 years old and you start saying, look, I'm going to give you money for the food you bought me when I was a baby. That ain't going to run, is it? You can only return. You can't give. You can return. You can try and repay, but you're never going to get there. And I think we need to adopt that mentality a bit more. It comes back to gratitude. When we have an attitude in mind that I've done something, I've given to the Guru, that ain't really the right mentality. What we should be saying is, look, thank you so much for allowing me to return. Like, I'll give you an idea. I was very fortunate. Some of the lads, they invited me to do a talk at the Gurdwara in Coventry, and they said to me, thank you for coming to do a talk. And I said, bro, look, to be honest with you, we've got to change the mentality. I'm being invited to talk on my beloved Guru. I should be saying thank you to you. Because the truth of the matter is, if we get a chance to do seva, if we get a chance to serve others, before your mind gets taken by ego that I have done something, we should lock that stuff down. I was about to say something else then. We should lock that down, yeah, and come from a place of gratitude, because from gratitude only pure things come. If you are opening up your mind and saying, yo, Guru Sahib, thank you for allowing me to talk on your behalf today. Thank you for allowing me to do Gatha today. Thank you for allowing me to watch the Spon End in the Gurdwara today. Yo, Guru Sahib, thank you for bringing me here today. Yeah? Then there is less room for ego. Yo, Guru Sahib, today I've come and I've given to this one. Maharaj, thank you so much for allowing me to do that. And I think that again, it comes back to gratitude. We're starting to unravel the onion now and seeing how deep we can get with this one word of gratitude.
Of course. I mean, just to clarify, we're non-profit organisation, so we're not telling people to donate at the Swand or give us any money. It's just on the subject of gratitude, like you said there. And, okay, now let me just mix it up now. Okay, brother. Now, in the Punjabi community, okay, maa pe your mother, your father. It's an old Punjabi saying, "Ma pe rab hunde hai." And you, like you've touched on there, we can never repay our parents. We can never repay our parents. But now we're talking about gratitude, and you know, with our parents, which now society is changing very, very, very quick in our community. Unfortunately, you know, it's just starting to show signs of grandparents and even a little bit parents. We're not as grateful as we were. That's not just here, UK. That's India. That's all around the world. We're not as grateful as we were once upon a time, and that is slowly starting to change. With, you know, grandparents being put in homes, and you know, at a very, very slow rate. Don't get me wrong. It's not like a big thing at the moment. Okay, but we are slightly heading in that direction. Now, how give me an example. How can we show gratitude to our parents? Give me an example.
I think one thing that we can do, and I'm probably speaking to myself here as well as everybody else, is we have to understand that history always judges people harshly. With the benefit of hindsight, we sit here today and we have so much technology at our hands. We can Google something in a split second and find the answer. And our parents can't do that, for example. And we judge them to our standard. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? You know, and I think history always judges people harshly. We can sit here now, and I think this is really important. You raised a point, and we're going to go into something which I'm really passionate about. With the benefit of hindsight, we can sit with our backs up straight and our arms crossed. You should have done this. You should have done that. But what we should do is have a bit of more compassion and a bit more open-mindedness that actually we are here to be better. And that doesn't mean by extension, if we're better, that you're worse. That's not how it works. If we go on to do better things, it doesn't make our parents worse or lower, or it means that we are better because of them. Does that make sense? So we think that if we make progress, like for example, like people could say like, oh, you're Amritali Singh, your parents aren't. For example, my parents aren't. It's not I'm better than them. It's because of them. Does that make sense? And I think if we need to have that understanding. Another point, just a slightly offshoot, but I think it's really important that we also understand this. We live in an age now which is very unfortunate, where everybody seems to think that they're entitled to an opinion about everything, even if they know nothing about what they're talking about. And I'm not going to get into the details of it, but this is a particular issue we're facing in the Punt, where guys are going to university, getting a maths degree, or a qualification in journalism, and they know nothing about Sikhi, but because they've got a qualification of some sort, they're a policeman or a fireman or whatever, they think that they can comment and discuss things. And I think it's really important that we distinguish education in the worldly sense to wisdom. And I think if a wise person will become knowledgeable, but will always respect their parents. An educated person will become knowledgeable and think he's better than his parents. So you can see the difference between education and wisdom there. And I think when we start following people that are educated rather than those that are wise, we're going to get into a problem. And I think we're starting to see that now, especially in today's day and age, where anybody can go on Twitter or create a documentary about someone they know nothing about, and I just think that's very, very dangerous. It's the age-old cliche that knowledge is a dangerous thing, isn't it?
Of course, it's very important. There's some points that you've made. And Baji, who's in the studio with us today, Khalsaji, let me bring that question to you now. Again, like I said before, I know you and I know you well. And, I'm going to go personal with you to get a personal answer back. How can you, I know, for example, you're very close with your mom. How can you show gratitude to your mom for everything that she's done for you in your life?
The thing is, even with Sikhi, any good Sikh that's got anything in Sikhi has got it from another good Sikh. So with myself, it was my mum the one that pushed me to keep my case. It was the mum the one that sat down with us and made us do Mool Mantar, made us do Gur Mantar. So that seed was planted, like it or not, from mother. So that's why, you know what I mean, we're talking about gratitude. You've always got a, like Baji was saying, you give respect to your teachers, don't you? Do you know what I mean? Anybody that's given you anything in life, it's very important to be grateful, whether be that your parents or whoever.
So effectively, you know, what you are saying is, one way you can be grateful is by being the best Gursikh you can be, and that is showing gratitude to your mother. That's what she would want to see.
Can I just add to that? Something that was really beautiful. To you said that was 100% on the nut. The best thing that we can do is be the best that we can be. If someone empowers you with weapons and tools, the best thing you can do is wield them for the benefit of truth and justice. And if that's what your mum stood for, and she's given those qualities to you, then 100% respect to you. Your mum, by the way, I think I've met her once, and she's an absolute angel. But can I just add to that? There's a great saint called Sant Hari Singh Ji Randawe Wale. An amazing Gursikh, goes around the world and giving a lot of wisdom, as we distinguish wisdom from education. And they give an example about just how important gratitude is. So they give an example. I have to forgive me, I didn't hear this Gatha, but another Gursikh taught this to me, as the member in the audience said, that we learn things from other Gursikhs. And this example was something that Sant Hari Singh Ji said in Gatha in a discourse once. And the way that they put it was this, that there are people in the world that do black magic and things like this, and that they do many sorts of these different things. And they go, imagine that there was a scenario which may have been hypothetical or it may have been an actual scenario, but one person is practicing the dark arts, if you will, right? And they take this human skull and they fill it with the meat of a dead dog and alcohol, right? And then they cover it, yeah. And this onlooker looks, goes, why are you covering the dead skull? Yeah, because normally in a culture where you cover something, it's out of respect. For example, we cover, you know, a gudka sahib, you know, because as I respect, it doesn't get dirty. Because you fill this skull with the meat of a dead dog and alcohol. Why are you covering it? And the guy who's practicing this dark art, he goes, look, I'm covering it just in case a person who's ungrateful in this world walks by. Because should that person who's ungrateful look upon it, it would even further decrease the make it even more impure. Meaning that even if you have a skull with meat of a dog and alcohol stuffed into it, your condition's worsened if you happen to be in the company of those that are ungrateful. So, you know, living in a lack of gratitude is painful existence, man. It's really, really painful. And I think living in a state of perpetual gratitude on the flip side is you're in heaven. So Guru Nanak Bacha, the Siddhs came, the holy people of the times, the yogis, they came to Guru Nanak Bacha, the king Guru Nanak, and they said to Guru Nanak, they said, where is the door to Sachkhand? And Guru Nanak Bacha says that the door to Sachkhand is found in the Sangat. So a wonderful way, going back to an earlier question you asked about how we can be grateful, yeah, is if you're ever so lucky to be in the Sangat, just be grateful that you're there. You know, just sit down and go, yo, I'm in the society of the saints. To be here on a Thursday night when Gatha's happening in East London, just name drop there for my local, yeah. Or if you're at your program, just sit down and be grateful. You haven't got to deeply understand. You haven't got to be enlightened there and then. You haven't got to completely, fully engage with everything. Don't put these pressures on yourself. That's fear. We're going the opposite direction. Just sit down and go, yo, thank you. You know, and I guarantee you'll be in a much better place than if you weren't doing that. Does that make sense? So gratitude is such a free gift, man. It's the biggest gift in this world. It's the biggest gift. It's the most powerful gift in this world. It's free. There's so much more we want to talk about, but I think we're running out of time.
We're definitely running out of time. Baji, Khalsaji, can I just ask you to give us something what Maharaj tells us to finish today's podcast on gratitude, please? Something that's within context.
I think like there's Bhakti in Sukuni Sada comes to mind. So kyun bisre jin sab kish diya. So why forget Vaheguru who's given you everything? Do you know what I mean? There's other Gurbani to kind of like where we're referring to ourselves as akirtkan, that we're ungrateful. You know what I mean? Thug desh kind of we're thugs, we chor yar jawar ho parkar jo handa we're thieves. This is the qualities of us as human beings. This is who we are. But Maharaj, at the end, this is the last thing what I would want to say is that even if you are ungrateful, I know we keep talking about being grateful. Even if you are that person who is ungrateful, don't worry, Maharaj has still got you. This is how the giver of everything. This is how Diyalu and how Kripalu, how compassionate. Yeah, how compassionate and the glory. This is the glory of Vaheguru, that even if you are this person, don't worry, do Simran. Maharaj has still got you back.
Wow, and that comes in Gurbani.
Yeah, that comes in Gurbani, yeah. Yeah. So Maharaj says,
ਵਿਸ਼ਵਾਸ ਕਰਤੀ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਮੈਂ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਰਖੰਦਾ ਸਿਮਰ ਮਰੀਦਾ ਢਾਡੀਆ ਸਤ ਗੁਰ ਬਖਸ਼ੰਦਾ the sat guru the true guru is bਖਸ਼ੰਦਾ and they'll still forgive you. So even if you are that person who is ungrateful, don't worry. You know, as we were talking before, that if you take that one step, holy, whatever that step, one step may be, just take that step. Maharaj will take thousands towards you.
Just before we go, I just want to say, on this subject of gratitude, I want to take this opportunity to reach out to the whole universe and just say, from the bottom of my heart, sincerely, I'm so grateful to all of those in this world that have taken a moment out to just give me a teaching, give me something, because without valuing that gratitude, without showing that appreciation, for me, this is me personally, I think that's a wonderful way of bettering this world, to show appreciation and gratitude. From my teachers at school, to my teachers now, to my parents, and obviously ultimately to Guru Sahib. Thank you so much, Guru Sahib. But this is just me just sharing that with the whole universe. So I'm grateful for the platform. Thank you for inviting me here today. Even saying thank you in that context means something different now. Hannah? So let's try and practice. Let's learn about gratitude more. And thanks a lot for the time that you've given us.
No, of course. And, you know, again, thank you for being on the show, and thank you for being on the first podcast. And we've gone deep. I've learned here. And like we said from the start, you know, if people can tune in and people can listen, that's what it's there for. All we're trying to do is just have a conversation and let people in on that conversation. And we've probably made loads of mistakes. You know, there's probably loads of things that people that listen to podcasts regular will pick up and say they did X, Y, Z. But you know what? We're learning. We'll get better. We'll get deeper, and we will try our very, very best to inspire. And we've got loads of platforms. We've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, we've got YouTube, and we've got SoundCloud. And it is going to be under Singh Army Podcast. Again, forgive us for any mistakes. I hope to see you all next time listening in. Thank you. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa. Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.